Ichiwal, Tanasna Wash, Tanalam Neaqua, Quamlacosan, Tanatamo Staminas, the squalor the Tamastima the stag, changing tides, changing tides, Lamut see the sack, the Galliano Island. Kach Mastimoch, the Holmachat Mastimoch, Penalakat Mastimoch, Kach, Lilte Scholar the Mastimoch, the changing tides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like very much to see the Island Trust Act reviewed. There's some changes that I think should be made. People should have more say in what goes on.
Yeah. I think the demographic has changed a fair amount actually on Galliano. I part of what I see happening is the escalation in land values, and people there's a lot of properties being bought on the island right now where people don't live in them in full time. So there seems to be a bit of a missing element in terms of participation in community.
The biggest change in the community itself, the changing demographic is that there's fewer people, young families, that can afford to buy land here. The price of property has gone up exponentially. It's ridiculous. Well, it affects it that there's fewer and fewer young people. So the local schools population has dropped dramatically, and there is concern that it will continue to drop. So it is becoming gentrified, and we're getting more and more retirees and more very wealthy people that buy land here and build monster homes who don't live here.
You've kind of went through three different phases. First of all, at the ferry dock, you know that the community is rich in its own culture. They're theatrical people, and they have, you could feel that. And as you come up into the power lines, that there you can almost say, oh, that loggers were here, and then you veer over to the left, and you actually see where the log's been knocked down, and you know that you almost see the spirit of the Galliano in itself because of the different phases. There was fishing there, inner here was logging, and now we have art people that are really coming in, not in droves, but they're here.
It's changing now?
I find it has changed in the last 10 years. Well, there seems to be a different population moving here, people that have lots of money and can build really nice homes and come here for their 3 weeks in the summer, and they're sort of summer people, we call them. And so it's changed the demography of the island and also the expense to living here. So single families or single moms or young families, it's a real struggle to find any kind of affordable housing here. So, and we've lost the children of our community because they're leaving, there's less.
I think the economics is hard for some people. If you're not already independently wealthy, making a living here is very difficult. And then if you have a living, sometimes it's just incredibly hard to find housing. So there's lots of jobs here in the summer, but employers can't get enough people to work because there's just not enough places for people to live. So
Friends of mine, particularly children of friends of mine, who have decided they could never afford to own land here, and they've gone to communities like the Kootenays, where the land is much cheaper. They're not moving there because they want to; they're moving there because they have to. So you could buy a piece of land here for $30,000 25 years ago, and now the same piece of land is $300,000. And when you worked at the pub 25 years ago, you made $7 an hour, and now you make $11 an hour. So those things don't relate.
Economics and all these kind of things had moved these people out of a beautiful site into the urban areas, and that's what I've seen.
As the economy changes, we adapt. So we're sitting behind the McMillan-Bloedel logging camp. McMillan-Bloedel owned half the island. They were, big employer. They went bankrupt, and the logging industry collapsed, and they sold out to developers their land. And I picked up an old logging camp and turned it into a film school. There's a lot of construction, and so there's less resource extraction. So there's less fishing, there's less logging, there's less of those type of industries, and there's more construction. And construction is problematic in that it is cyclic.
Well, the people that have huge tracts of land and forests that they got through that were forests that they want to change into residential, those people can make millions and millions of dollars. And
Well, I think if people have property and they want to build a house on, let them build. If people, just because people have what they call a forest lot, doesn't mean they're going to log it, do away with the trees. They like the forest too. They want a house, they want to be able to live on it. But they can't because it's called this one. Yeah. I think there should be a limit on the size of the house.
There's the balance of, if everybody comes to live here, then it'll be another urban sprawl. So,
well, basically, the new bylaws would open up logging and development like Salt Spring Island and destroy the island, basically. And big money. So I'm really hope that that doesn't happen.
I'm sorry to say that I think there's only one more person living on the island today, and it's just economics and the way of life. What happens with when these villages become vacant? You just don't have the resources. It was a way that you can't see today. A way of living. You fish for your food, and you fish for your money. And it was too rough. We'd simply go up in the woods and pick blackberries, and everything was just totally self-sufficient, and it was a beautiful life to live. Kids got to go to who had rich in history, rich in natural resources. The tides have really changed in this here community. It's called Sac. Galiano Island. It's called Sac, and I think it means tide itself for the.
Hopefully.
I think all the quibbling will be going on for many years. Mainly because you can't please everybody.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll stay much the same. But I guess it won't. With the newcomers.
The kind of thing that would bring that sense of community back would probably be a massive earthquake. It's like a dog shaking off some fleas, probably.